Today we'll scratch build a bunkhouse for the lumber camp that is located on the CMR at Burton Falls. Now this specific bunkhouse here was a kit and it was in styrene. What we will do, we'll do a similar one but all in wood, scratch built. Now in here we got the wood. I already cut it. I cut the windows, I cut the doors, and what we got to do is to reinforce the wood because it would be stained, painted, and the inside would be black, the outside would be light brown, and all the trim would be dark brown. To be able to do that, I use about a 1/4 inch by a 1/4 inch little piece of wood. You put some glue in it, and I put it at the edge here. Now, especially the front, that little piece here is pretty thin, so I decide to put those braces there. Now the middle, because when you paint it you don't want that to buckles or anything of the sort. I put a middle post here, right there. So that's one done so far. So we'll put that aside and we'll repeat the same thing on the other one. Which is your back. Now this one will need that we put clamps on it. Take the middle brace, like the other one, put it in the middle. And I would put a clamp on it to make sure that, so that's the second one was done. Checking those one here to make sure that I do not have any problem with them, but I would put the clamp in the middle one. Now we got the two sides in here. Now the idea is when we assemble this piece, right, we leave enough space to put a molding in the middle here. So I already got the brace in there, so the only place I need a brace right now is in the middle here. Okay, so now we have the two sides here done, and we got the front done. Now here we'll have a little piece of wood that will go in here, but I do not put these pieces of wood in place till the building is all assembled, and after it's assembled, then I will paint it. Now to give you an idea how that will work, we put this here, and I put my side on place like this. clamp it. And the rest would be assembled exactly the same way. Okay, now that our little bunkhouse is assembled, the next step is to put some piece of wood here that will hold the roof. Now we only got 4 of them to put in per cabin. You put it in place, clamp it. Front and back. Now they are exactly the same wood that you have used as far as your bracing is concerned. Those are just there to help you glue your roof when it's time to glue the roof. Well, our next step would be to paint what we already have done. I use a very cheap acrylic. In this case here, it would be Artcraft, and it's called Tan. Tan Moreno is the coating that I'm putting on the building. Now you apply it all over the place. Do the back. And now your building's starting to take shape. And there we go. We got the front and we got the back done. I will finish the building and then we'll put the inside painting. Now, because all those buildings have electrical inside, so we'll paint the inside black. Now I'm doing that coat right away. And this way I got no distortion in the building. Now the only reason you painted black on the inside is so that when the lights are on, you do not have a glowing building. The light come through to the windows, or an open door, or anything of the sort like that. So you do not have a problem. If you do not paint the inside, your building will glow. Now that's a very quick application. As long as we cover about everything that's got to be covered, you're okay. That the whole building. Now, if you want a more reflective lights inside of your building, what I do when I want that effect, I just paint the roof silver. Or you can use aluminum papers, you know, to create a reflector. And then you will point one light towards the roof. Otherwise, the lights are shining down because they are at the level of the roof per se. As you can see, it's very, very quick to do. As you're building a building, I took on the habits, even if a building will not have a light, I Still paint the inside, because later on maybe I will want to put the light in. So that way it's easier to do as you're building it. Now the inside of the building is already painted. Next step would be installing the window and the door. Okay, now window. The window have been painted, as you can see. And what I use for this one is a DecoArt Crafter Acrylics Burnt Umber. That's what's being used to paint the window. The same as the trim, which is the next step. So a little bit of glue. No, you don't need a ton of it, really. Okay, we got the first one in. Okay, it's sitting properly. So in that building you got 3 windows and 1 door. And there goes our window. Our door. Now you notice there's a hole here. The hole here, when we take, is 2 cabins like this, eh? So that's where the electrical wires will go through. Now we had the building and the inside painted black, if you notice, but now we have to paint the door just the same. So now we won't have no reflection coming in from there. Okay, so next we will use this and put it in the corners as the trim for the building. Now the electrical in here has been installed, which would be a video by itself for doing electrical in the buildings. Now it's time to put the roof. So the section in between here, I have done the roof. It's just a matter of putting the tar paper on this one. So to do the roof, I cut the pieces that is needed for it, and I cut a little piece of wood here, as you can see, and this little piece of wood would be put in the middle of the roof. right in here. So now it's totally flush here with the roof. The next part is to take the other part of the roof and glue it to it. So now we take that piece to make sure I got the 90-degree angles here really well. And I do. So now we got the roof done. Now the other one has already been done, and it goes right on top of it here like this. So now the idea on this is we want to put a border on the roof to match. So we'll use a piece of wood, okay, and I will measure the angles that I need here, and we'll frame the roof with that. After that, it's just a matter of putting the tar paper. And the tar paper, what I use is just a piece of tape. I put it on the bench, I color it black, and then after that I will just weather it with some gray and so on, and you lay it layer by layer by layers right up to the top, and then you cut yourself a little finishing for the metal, and it does the job. Then after that, in this case for that building, I do not have any chimney to put on the top here, so I will use a stovepipe from the back. We have one roof in place right here where the trim is done. It's painted on both sides with the same color of the trim before applying the tar paper. Let's do the trim, some of the trim on the other roof. So a little bit of glue. Take your piece of wood here, now a little bit more glue, the other side, and just barely sand the end. Sure I got a good connection here. Okay, now we got one side. If you notice, I let it hang a little more. When I put the side in here, then at that point I will trim them. So now we do the same thing with this one. Now the nice thing about having a piece of glass in there, the glass never budge. So this one here doesn't want to glue totally straight, so I put a weight on it for a few minutes, and that way it will glue properly. During that time, I would prepare the side here. You have to remember that is an old lumber camp that we got in there. It's not a fancy thing here. So now I put it this way, down, and I put my side in there. During that time, I prepare the other part here. Turn it around. Do exactly the same thing. Now the roof technically is done. Other than now is painting it like we paint this one, you know, all around here because you got the overhang. I do a little bit in here because I don't want it to kind of wave. Then I put it on, and then I will adjust with a pair of snippers. I snip them through. And with the sanding, just sand the end a little bit. On each one of them. And that is done for that. So now I would bring my paint back. You don't have to cover the whole roof. There we go. Now we got both roof in place. Well, now I guess it's time to do the roof. So I already prepare some. Now your first one is probably the hardest to put in. Put it in. Now I put the other one on the other side. So both of the base now have been done. There's a little trim to do in here. Right. So now the only thing you got to do is to put your adjust the width that you want your paper to be in. Just put him in. And I take a pair of scissors. I just cut the excess. And then you go to the next one. Do exactly the same thing. Line up your width of the tar paper. Put them in. Now we're very close to the peak. that one will fold right over the edge of the roof like this. So now technically it's done, but we'll put a cap on it, and the cap will give you the exact spacing that you need. And you do exactly the same thing on the other side. Now everybody's got a different method to do things. I find doing tar paper this way on roofs, it's an easy method. You don't have to use any other kind of glue or anything of the sort, because your glue is already there on the tape. Now I had some roof where the tar paper after a length of time has kind of curl. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. It just makes it even more realistic. So you just add on a little bit of weathering and that type of thing, and that does the trick. Yeah, this one did exactly the same thing, as you notice, right? Now we'll take our cap, line him up, cut the excess before you fold it. Now you fold it in place, and your roof is done. Now the only thing you got left to do on that building, okay, is to glue the roof in place and weather the whole thing. So I hope that tutorial been good to you, and see you next time.